Ever wonder why some absolutely brilliant innovators completely fail at running a company, while relatively average thinkers end up building massive empires? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a literal masterclass in human influence, John Maxwell's definitive framework, the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And look, whether you're managing a huge organization, leading a local community project, or really just trying to guide your own career path with a bit more intention, understanding the actual mechanics of how people are led, it's a total game changer.
Okay, so take a look at this. This is the complete grid of those 21 laws straight from the source. I know, it looks incredibly overwhelming at first glance. It's a massive amount of leadership wisdom packed into one space. But hey, don't worry, you absolutely do not need to memorize this entire board today. We're going to break this whole thing down into really digestible, logical stages so you can grasp the core architecture behind it all.
To make sense of it all, we've organized these concepts into 4 distinct pillars: foundations of strong leadership, cultivating true influence, strategy and team empowerment, and finally, momentum and lasting legacy.
All right, let's jump right into the first pillar, foundations of strong leadership.
The absolute starting point for this entire framework is the law of the lid. Think about a local restaurant, right? They've got mind-blowing food, but absolutely terrible management. That is the law of the lid in action. It basically says your effectiveness can never, ever rise above your own leadership skills. It's literally like a physical cap on a jar. No matter how incredible your product is or how hard your team hustles, if your personal leadership ability is, say, a 4 out of 10, well, your organization's effectiveness is never going to get higher than a 3. So how you actually lift that lid? You have to build on the law of solid ground. Leadership is built entirely on a foundation of trust. And you only earn that through consistent competence and unshakable integrity. If you compromise your integrity, the ground beneath you just crumbles. Because without establishing profound, genuine trust with your people, there is no way they're following you into difficult territory.
And once you have that solid foundation, it naturally triggers 3 ongoing realities. First up is growth. Look, you don't become a leader in a day. It's a daily, continuous journey. Second, as you grow, your intuition sharpens. You start relying on honed experience to just instantly read a room and grasp complex situations. And third, the law of magnetism kicks in. This one is such a fascinating psychological mirror. You don't attract who you want, you attract who you are. Your core values naturally draw in people who mirror your exact attitudes and skills.
Which leads us perfectly into our second pillar, cultivating true influence.
We have all seen that manager with the fancy corner office who literally no one listens to, right? That happens because of the law of influence. True leadership comes entirely from your capacity to genuinely influence others, not from a flashy job title. Think about it. If you strip away your title and your formal authority, would people still follow you? If the answer is no, then you're just relying on your position, and that's not real influence. And to get that influence, the law of buy-in dictates a strict, non-negotiable sequence. A lot of inexperienced managers will walk in and try to sell their grand vision first, and then they wonder why no one is motivated. But listen, humans just don't work like that. They have to fundamentally believe in you, trust you, and buy into you as a person long before they will ever commit to where you want to take them. This brings us to a really beautiful cluster of relational laws that actually build that buy-in. It starts with addition, basically adding value by serving others. When you touch someone's heart first, you build a profound connection. Pair that with the law of the picture, which is leading by example because, trust me, your team is always watching what you do, and you naturally earn the final piece of the puzzle, absolute respect.
Okay, moving right along to pillar 3, strategy and team empowerment.
Now we're getting into the real mechanics of it all. The law of navigation tasks you with plotting the roadmap. I mean, anyone can steer the ship, but a true leader anticipates the obstacles and actually charts the course. But you can't do it alone. Your potential relies almost entirely on your inner circle. You've got to push power down the chain and empower those top-tier people with the true authority to succeed. Do that and you fulfill the law of victory, which is basically rejecting failure and taking it upon yourself to always find a way for the team to win. Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. We live in a world that completely glorifies just being busy. But the law of priorities forces a really uncomfortable truth. Mere activity does not equal actual accomplishment. As a leader, you have to mercilessly cut through the noise. You have to ruthlessly prioritize and focus intensely on that top 20% of tasks that will actually yield 80% of your results.
And finally, we hit our 4th pillar, momentum and lasting legacy. If you want to generate an unstoppable force, you've got to have the big momentum. With momentum, massive mountains literally become molehills, but without it, even trivial problems can bring your whole team to a grinding halt. Combine that with the law of timing, which is understanding that making the right decision at the wrong time is still a massive mistake. And then there's sacrifice. Actually, as you rise in leadership, your personal rights decrease while your responsibilities go up. You have to be fully willing to give up your own comfort for the progress of the team.
But the real secret to exponential scaling? That's found in the law of explosive growth. It's a completely different math equation. If you just add followers, your organization grows steadily. Sure, you get 1 unit of output per person. But if you multiply your impact by developing other leaders, your growth becomes explosive because they then go out and multiply their own teams. It spreads like wildfire.
And that means everything we've talked about today culminates in the ultimate summit, the law of legacy. It is not about what you achieved while you were sitting in the room. It is entirely about how well the organization thrives the moment you walk out that door for good. Your absolute highest value as a leader is defined solely by the succession of capable, empowered leaders that you leave behind. So as we wrap up this explainer, we've looked at the laws, from lifting your own personal lid to charting the course to multiplying your impact. But knowledge is really only powerful when you actually apply it. So I want you to ask yourself this defining question. When your time in your current role is done, what will your leadership legacy be? Pick just one of these laws to work on tomorrow and start building that legacy today.